Are you struggling to close deals? Cold outreach is wasting the time of both the buyer and seller at every stage, especially when sellers are using shallow and outdated data. Your organization can overcome these challenges with technology that translates comprehensive, high-quality buyer data into real-time insights. These deeper insights empower sales reps and teams to adopt the habits of top performers, which leads to better outcomes, like more pipeline, higher win rates, and larger deals. We call this deep sales. And we've built the first deep sales platform with the next generation of LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/trial. That's linkedin.com/trial for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/trial and get started.
Hey guys, and welcome to Criminality, the podcast where we know loving reality TV isn't a crime. Rebekah, so good to see you. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm really happy to see you. I'm so glad it's not a crime. I think the time we might be spending on Scandival is getting borderline criminal,
Criminal. Mm-hmm.
you know, take me away, cuff me, book me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I know there's like a TikTok where it's like, when this becomes illegal, arrest me or whatever. And it's just somebody running out of a house, their face with the music. I'm like, yeah, no, I can
We're
get
there.
behind that. Yeah. So Scandival is mostly behind us. Anything exciting on your end in life?
My end of life.
Yeah.
No, let's be real. Everyone like in my house is traveling to cool places and I'm not. My husband's in Puerto Rico for work. My son is going to Japan on a school trip. My daughter's on spring break in Copenhagen. So I'm not bitter. You didn't hear that in my voice, did you?
Not at all.
I'm working from home in Queens. So something is wrong with this picture. But no, I'm just happy to be here. And I don't know what you're talking about today still. And I gave up on trying because I just don't know. So I decided to go with the surprise.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this, Rebekah.
Let's do it.
My 3 clues last time were Kentucky, TLC, and YouTube. And you guessed, I think, what are those sisters?
Okay. I said the D'Amelios because I heard YouTube and
you thought they flew over the state of Kentucky. I got it.
And yeah, got arrested or something.
Here we go. So on January 1st, 2020, a year that offered 0 complications and will overall be remembered as a very normal and very chill year, a show premiered on TLC. Rebekah, it wasn't a show about polygamy. It wasn't a show about little people in big worlds. It was a show with a very nebulous title, 1,000-Pound Sisters.
Of course, this is what we're doing. Of course it is. How did I not guess? You love to throw this title of a show in any chance you get.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a show about sisters whose combined weight around 1,000 pounds were looking to lose weight and gain freedom in their lives. Rebekah, you have never watched a single second of 1,000-Pound Sisters. I've not tried to get you to watch it. I will say I've not bullied you into this one.
No.
What is your idea of this show? Just based on my reaction, what do you think the real essence of this show is?
Well, I like the words you said, the losing weight and gaining freedom. I hope that's what's happening for them. I get nervous. I think of Biggest Loser, like exploiting people with, who suffer from obesity, and just that it's like not like I get nervous. We're laughing at and not with.
Totally.
So I get nervous.
I absolutely agree with you. And that's what I actually like about this show, that it feels more, it's more about the personalities. It's about the family. Okay. It's about a lot of other stuff. It's we'll just get into it. I just,
Let's.
you're going to really have to be immersed into this culture of 1,000-pound sisters.
Okay.
So TLC is not new to programming around obesity or weight loss. Before 1,000-pound sisters, we had a show called Too Large, another one called Family by the Ton, and my personal favorite, My 600-Pound Life. Have you ever seen My 600-Pound Life?
No, but I've heard more about that one.
If I hear someone say, howdy, I immediately think of Dr. Now, because he is this wonderful doctor who does these gastric bypass surgeries or bariatric surgeries in Houston, Texas, but he's not from Houston, Texas. He's definitely from a European country. And so when you hear him say howdy, it's just dripping in charm because it's not a word he used before he got to Houston. Yeah, I love it.
Right.
So, Rebekah, I would actually consider 1,000-pound sisters to really be in a category all in itself. While the conversations around shows like My 600-Pound Life are really focused on how sad this person's life is and how nothing is going right, and their backstories are often horrific, or the things that they aren't able to do, 1,000-Pound Sisters has really always been the story of two sisters, Tammy and Amy Slaton. Now, before I go any further, Rebekah, I know you don't watch this show, so in order for you to really get the sisters, I'm going to play you a clip. This is going to be a very clip-heavy show. I will tell you that right off the bat.
I want to have a baby, and I think my weight has affected me not to have a baby.
So that's your motivation, is you want to have a baby? You want to
And I just want to be healthy, not like her. Tell you the truth. I ain't going to lie to you.
What's wrong with me?
Look at your fatness.
You ain't a prize.
Yeah, so I would say the thing that really makes this show different is it goes from heartwarming and Amy having this dream of having a baby to literally telling the doctor, my sister's not a prize. And they're both in there for the same thing.
So good. Yeah.
It's so funny. It reminds me of the whole idea, though, like, I can make fun of my family, but don't you dare make fun of my family.
Always.
And that's what their whole family relationship is. It's them calling each other names, every name under the sun, making fun of each other, turning it around on them, but they love each other and they're this family. It's
good.
Probably dysfunctional, but that's kind of the whole thing. And I really watch it a lot for that. And if you're like, cool, Melissa, but how did this family I've never even heard of get a show on TLC? I'd love to tell you, Rebekah. But first, I need to share a little more about Amy and Tammy and the whole Slaton family. So before TLC comes a knockin', the Slaton sisters were actually part of a bigger sibling group. We're going to call them the Slatons because that's some of their last names, but I don't think everyone is actually a Slaton.
Okay.
So quickly, I'll give you the names of all the other siblings who we meet in later seasons. We meet Darlene Slaton, who's the mom and is a monster. I absolutely cannot stand this lady. You'll get a clip of her in a few minutes. She's a monster. It's unclear if all the siblings have the same father. Chris has a different last name. He's the oldest brother. Then there's Amy and Tammy and Misty and Amanda. So the show was built around Amy and Tammy. Misty and Amanda and Chris don't really come on until maybe the second or third season when they start really showing the whole family.
Okay.
What I do know is that the 5 siblings grew up in Dixon, Kentucky. Are you familiar with Dixon, Kentucky? Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, there are 680 people that live in Dixon, Kentucky. So I would have been pretty surprised.
We're about to meet 6 of them.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
I think we've seen the rest of them on the show at this point, by the way.
Yeah.
So from what we hear on the show, growing up wasn't super easy for them. Their mom, Darlene, she worked a lot, and there really didn't seem to be a lot of love coming from her or truly any at all. Just I don't have any words to say there. So
Wow.
they're mostly raised by their grandmother, and when their grandma dies, it's kind of like everything falls apart for them. And so to get an idea of the love of their mom, here's a clip of how their mom is basically in any scene she's in. And this is a scene that comes up, I think, later in the first season. And this is Amy asking her mom to come wedding dress shopping with her.
Okay.
Do you think you could go wedding dress shopping with me?
No,
Why not?
no, you get Barb to go with you, and it's a lot easier for her
you're
to
my
get
mom.
I know, but it's a lot easier for them to do it than me. You know,
got
I don't
no
like
wheelie
shopping.
chair?
I don't like going shopping.
My mom refused to go wedding dress shopping, which kind of hurt me because that's something special for a mother and daughter. But me and Michael's mom, she's like my mom too, so she'll go with me. And hopefully my mom at least will come to my wedding.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Isn't it? And you could tell Amy knows her mom's probably going to say no. And she's,
she's not shocked.
She's hoping. And that's kind of what makes it so sad to me. Very early on, when the girls say they're trying to get weight loss surgery, their mom's like, well, you failed every other time. This isn't going to work. That's the attitude we're talking about.
Wow.
And the lady still signs releases to be on TLC. I'm like, you are a monster.
Is the whole family, do they all struggle with obesity?
Yeah, I can't remember. Misty, I can't remember if she had surgery, but Amanda had weight loss surgery, and we see Chris have weight loss surgery on the show. So he actually, right after Amy gets weight loss surgery. Okay. So Misty, Amanda, and Chris seem to have gotten out of their house before things got too bad. I'm assuming this. There's not really any information, but I know there is a gap in the ages, and the grandma dying was like a big turning point. But I do know that Amy was born with this eye disease called congenital toxoplasmosis. Have you heard of that before?
Mm-mm.
So I think you've probably heard of what causes it and maybe not the name of it. It left her legally blind, and she said it's basically like having scars on your eyes. Like, so you're seeing through these scars. And she said that this was developed in utero. The quote is, quote, one of the cats that my mom had toxoplasmosis, and she would clean up after the cats when she was pregnant with me. Like that big thing we always hear when you're pregnant, don't clean up after cats.
It almost, I forgot about it. It's like, almost feels like an urban legend or something, like TSS. Like you don't know anyone who's had it, but you are sure you'll get it when you first start using tampons.
Right.
Like that.
Well, my little comment that I put there, it's like eating a watermelon seed that you think
you grow one.
So you don't do it, but you don't really know if that's true.
Yes, that's exactly right.
But it's the same idea. So she ended up getting that eye disease because of it. Yeah. And so as the girls grow up, they notice a big change in their life after the grandma passes away. Amy says she wasn't overweight prior to this, but after her grandma died, who she really considered to be her mom, she begins eating as a way to cope. She said she dealt with depression, and her own mom was never home, not nurturing if she was. So she and Tammy were kind of left to their own devices. They would teach themselves to cook, and none of it was healthy. One time on the show, one big thing that comes up is they tell this doctor, like, he's like, how many Cokes do you drink a day, or how many Diet Cokes do you drink? And she said, well, when we were little, we were told that if you drink a Diet Coke, it cancels out sugar. So they would eat something with sugar and then drink a Diet Coke. He's like, absolutely not. That's not true.
Who told them? Who
Probably
of the
their
600
evil
people
mother
in Kentucky?
Who of the 680 people in Dixon told them that?
Dixon.
I don't know. But honestly, I wish that was the case. That'd be great. But back to their childhood, both girls became victims of bullying, and Amy was also dealing with legal blindness on top of these issues with her weight. And I want to say here, I know weight loss and weight is a sensitive subject, so I promise I'm trying my best to handle it with care. But since the show is literally about weight loss and family relationship, there's just a lot of talk about it today.
Sure.
So today, Amy's 35, Tammy is 36, but when we first meet the girls, they're in their 20s. And if you're like, Melissa, the math ain't mathin'. This show's only been on for 3 years. How have we known them for more than 3 years? Do you want to guess how?
Was it canceled and came back?
Oh, no.
The show?
They had a YouTube channel.
Oh,
where
okay.
YouTube
So that
comes in.
makes sure. And that's how they probably got discovered for a show.
Yes. So when we first met the girls, they were on YouTube, where they became influencers or influencers. If you're Amy, she always has a very interesting speech pattern. So their first viral video is this chubby bunny challenge. You know, that marshmallow one. So I feel like that one was like not a nice video that became viral. Yeah. But really, their videos were mostly them doing like their makeup or nails or showing random things they like to cook. And if you're like, cool, there's a million YouTube channels like that. I even have a channel like that. I don't, but I'm just thinking maybe somebody's thinking that. And you were like, how did they get a show? How did TLC give them a show? Rebekah, they had their viewers of their YouTube channel actually reached out to TLC and said, you should watch this and they deserve their own show. And TLC was like, yeah, great idea.
That's the dream.
Right?
That is the dream. Yeah, that your own audience is like putting you forward for something. That's pretty cool.
Isn't that cool? I thought that was like,
Yeah.
I've never heard that. Like,
No, that's really neat.
what did Tarek do? Tarek? Why do I always
Tarek?
Tarek. Wow, I got it wrong again. Didn't he have an Instagram page or something? Wasn't that like how he got his show?
I did the story on him and I have no idea, but that's ringing a bell. Like he was posting about his
business.
They were together. They were doing that together. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of to get noticed, but they weren't doing anything, and their fans said you should give them a show, and that's how it all came to be.
Well, that's smart of TLC to listen.
It really is. Also, people listening to us right now, TLC, heard of it? We'll do it.
Little nudge.
So, Rebekah, I know, again, this isn't a show you've watched, but I'd like to help you when it comes to the pop culture, because 1,000 Pound Sisters is part of our lexicon now. And
Okay.
there are a few original clips you have to know. So when you see them on things like TikTok, you'll recognize them and get the reference.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to show you this one. This is the whole clip. And then I'm going to show you a TikTok version of it that you'll see a lot of.
Good.
Try being my size, Amy. You don't know how it is.
There's stuff you can do. You
Just
want to be
drop
a big
it.
baby about everything.
I ain't baby. You're the baby.
Grow the up.
You first.
I've been grown. I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
You know that one?
Okay. Yeah.
I pay my bills. My bills are paid.
My bills are paid. Yes.
That's classic. And then here's an example of a TikTok you might see.
Perfect.
Right?
The
It's
cereal,
so
the
good.
cereal grabber. Yeah, that's good. That's great.
Yeah. So you'll see a lot of, you might hear some of their sounds. And that is a big one. I pay my bills. My bills are paid. Try being my size, Amy. You don't
Yeah,
know
so I've
how
known
it is.
My 1,000 Pound Sisters without knowing I knew them. Love it.
Exactly.
Thank you, TikTok.
Yeah. So, Rebekah, let's get into the show itself. When we meet Amy and Tammy together, they weigh around 1,000 pounds, which is shocking, I know, because of the title. But in the first season, the sisters both want to get weight loss surgery. And it's going to be more difficult for Tammy because she's lost a lot of mobility, but also doesn't really seem to be in the right headspace early on. So her doctor wants her to speak to a counselor because it feels like maybe there's something else going on that she's not really dealing with. And obviously, the idea of weight loss surgery is to lose this weight, be able to keep it off, not continue habits that cause issues after you've had it. Amy, on the other hand, is getting married on the show to her longtime boyfriend, Michael, whose brother is also married to Amy's sister, Amanda.
Oh, okay.
I'm from the South. This happens all the time. You marry a set of brothers. It just happens.
I think it happens a lot on Long Island too.
Okay. The South and Long Island. And one big thing that is happening, especially in these early seasons, is Amy is taking care of Tammy. She's doing her cooking, her cleaning, helping her bathe, everything she needs, and not really getting any kindness from Tammy. Tammy, nobody in the family would say she was a very nice person. They actually call her the B word quite a bit. And I think she accepts it and she knows she can be one. So the first season also shows the women going to a truck stop of some sort to be weighed on this giant scale. There wasn't a scale. I mean, I feel like they could have brought him to the hospital. I don't know how they ended up here, but this clip is where it kind of gets you emotionally to understand how much Amy really wants this.
And it said I was 350. But I think my scale at home was broken. And I've been afraid to buy a new one. This is the moment I've been dreading.
.406.
Seeing that number on the scale, just made my heart drop. This is the most I've ever weighed. In my head, I see more zeros than it really was. Makes me feel like, I don't know, just kind of like...
I know your frustration. I'm going to put on weight too, dude. You know what I've been eating? The mozzarella sticks are hanging out.
Feel that belly of steel.
That's your keg.
No, it's a barrel.
Oh man, that's intense.
It is. And you feel for her. I don't know. There's just, I don't know. We've all been at a point where you just feel like, how did things end up like this? Just in any aspect of your life. And it's a hard thing to share, and to be so open on national television for something like that. Just,
Absolutely. And that's the thing, is that is a universal feeling, whether, it's all relative. It might be a smaller number. And like you said, it could relate to something else, but you can relate to that. Like, wait, how did this happen? Because it's like slowly and then all at once. But to be at that point, like there's just so much that needs to get done to reverse the effects that like the overwhelm is real. I mean, I feel for them.
totally. And that whole thing was, it was heartbreaking. And Amy is just wanting to have a baby. Like that's her whole goal in life, is to mother. And especially considering the mother she has, like you just want it for her so bad. So eventually the two meet with a bariatric surgeon. And if you've seen a weight loss show that involves a bariatric surgeon, you kind of know how this goes, right? The doctor gives you a goal weight to get you down to prior to your surgery. If you can do it, then typically they say yes. If not, they're like, well, you have to wait longer. You have to be able to show that you can do this on your own.
Right.
So on the show, Amy is able to do it. She works really, really hard, and she gets approved for surgery. Tammy actually gains weight. And so poor Amy is so excited. She can't wait to get this weight loss surgery, can't wait to start her family. And Tammy almost acts like, I can't believe you're going to do this because I can't do it. And so there's this dynamic of like poor Amy feeling so terrible because she wants this for herself, but you can't want it for someone else. But also
She almost feels betrayed.
Yeah. And she feels terrible making this decision without her sister because, but then you can't make somebody else's decision. Anyway, I'm telling you, there's a lot to this show that more than you would have originally thought.
Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
So I'll also add here that we see Amy's husband, Michael. He's there all the time, but like you never hear this guy speak. And he seems like the quiet, supportive type. So we think. That's going to come back.
Okay.
And we have so much more to still get into, including arrests, divorce, and updates, after one quick break to hear word from this week's sponsors. So Rebekah, maybe now would be a good time to get into some of the controversies before we go any further.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's start with some YouTube controversies before we move into any arrests, okay? So as the women get more and more popular on YouTube, they did what anyone would do, and they started to sell merch. Smart. But when you sell merch and make a profit, there's a little man called Uncle Sam who wants a piece of that.
Sure, he always does.
And if you're on disability from something like an eye disease or other health issues, which Amy and Tammy were, you might not want the government to know you're making money on the side. So what could one do? Well, one option is to set up a donate button on your page and have people donate their money for things like a mug versus buying a mug. So,
oh my gosh.
I mean, it's not that bad of an idea though. Like, I'm not into scamming things, but like, it kind of made sense why they did it. I'm not saying it's right. Okay, here we go.
I'm reserving my judgment. Doesn't sound right.
No, it's not right. It's wrong. Here, I'm very much
like, wait, are you about to advocate for this?
I'm not, but I'm like, wow, okay, that was an idea that you had. Okay, so here's a quote from the website. It says, if you purchase Tammy's merch, you will be added to a private group chat with Tammy. To purchase, head to the donate button and donate the appropriate amount. $35 for t-shirts, $50 for hoodies. By the way, if we thought our hoodies were too expensive, they were doing $50 hoodies 7 years ago.
Jeez.
I know. With inflation, we should be selling ours for so much more. So then it says basically you send that, then head to the contact section and email us with the email you use to make the purchase. Which fans quickly realize, number one, they're trying to skirt around paying taxes or letting the government know they're making money on this. And number two, there's no proof of purchase. So you could make a donation, email them, and never get anything because technically you made a donation.
Right. It's not a goods and service exchange necessarily. Whew.
Yeah. So that was one controversy with YouTube, but let's get into a wilder YouTube controversy. I learned this week and it truly blew my mind. So Tammy gets pneumonia and is incredibly sick. She is in the hospital. She's on life support for 3.5 weeks. They thought she was going to die.
Oh my.
And there's this video that comes out and it's Amy and she's sobbing in this video and saying, people are telling me to start a GoFundMe. I'm starting this GoFundMe to cover the cost of Tammy's funeral. Imagine you're on life support and your sister's like, I got to pay for it. She even mentioned that they needed
Before she died?
Before she died.
Well, obviously, because she's not dead.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
She mentioned they would need more money for a bigger casket. She even said this in the video. It was so much going on in this video that I was like, oh dear Lord. So anyway, basically she's like, if she dies, we'll use it for a funeral. If she doesn't, we'll use it for the hospital.
There's a caveat.
Well, but it was basically like,
Jeez.
Tammy's dead. Could you give us money for this larger casket? So anyhow, basically they end up making $818 on the GoFundMe. And Amy's saying if it happens, it'll go to her funeral. Anything left over goes to hospital bills. But in a follow-up video, Amy says, I think what we're going to do is give the money to to the funeral home to help it build interest. Can you imagine your family being like, it doesn't have much time left. Let's see how much interest we can get on this.
Wait, investing it with the funeral home? Is that a thing?
Maybe in Dixon it is. I don't know.
Okay. I think that was more like they were crowdfunding for rent. Like the funeral home.
Yeah.
What?
The funeral home also has an MLM. I forgot to tell you that. So like fans are basically like, hey, what happened to the money that was donated? Because Tammy's alive. And was it sent to the hospital for bills? If so, we'd like to see receipts. And Amy says in this video, she gave her mom the money for bills. She asked her mom for the receipt. Her mom never told her. So I'm believing that she gave it to her mom and her mom just did something with it because I don't think Amy would have done that. I don't think that, but
yeah. Yeah. It seems like Darlene would from what we've
would
seen
love
and heard.
to. She'd
also, when you said $818, I was expecting to hear 1,000 after it because I thought like they're so I'm just relieved this is not $1 million.
It wasn't. It was a very small YouTube
but still,
controversy.
it's people's money.
Totally.
It's people's money and it's not right. But I was nervous.
Yeah, no, it was. I thought the same thing. I was like, well, that's why I haven't heard of this.
Right.
So back to the actual 1,000 Pound Sisters TLC show. So Amy, as I said, was able to get surgery and she ends up doing really well post-surgery. She initially loses around 160 pounds. Yeah.
Wow.
She and Michael are married and it wasn't long before she has her first son, Gage, which everyone's thrilled that she's able to have a baby, but apparently you're not supposed to get pregnant within a year of your surgery because it's incredibly dangerous. And she did. Gage, by the way, is named after a character from Pet Sematary. Oh. She and Michael love horror films, and so that's what she named him from.
I was going to say it's a cool name. That's a weird meaning. But,
yeah. They have another kid named after a horror thing, too. So during this time, though, Tammy's not losing weight. She's only gaining weight. And apparently she starts drinking a lot and maybe doing drugs. TLC never uses that word, but they say partying. So we watch her kind of, So
sorry. I love TLC euphemisms. That's cute.
They're like, she's partying. I'm like, I haven't seen her leave her house in 3 months. I don't think she's at a club. She can't leave her house. Like something else is what they mean. So she's like in and out of these different relationships with guys who the family doesn't like because they're like literally on websites where they're looking for larger women and that's like a fetish. So they're like, don't be a fetish. So anyway, there's a lot going on there.
Don't be a fetish.
Don't be a fetish.
Know your worth.
Yeah.
Don't be a fetish.
So anyway, Amy though just loves being a mom. It's all she cares about. You see her beaming when she talks about her son. She just wants to be healthier for him. She wants to give him everything she didn't get. So she goes and looks for a new house to move into. And because I guess his room was technically in the kitchen at their old house. Like it was a very small duplex that they lived in. And so as the TLC checks are coming in, they're going to buy a new house. And she brings in professional cleaners, and honestly, my heart broke for her because she's like, I know this is a mess. I'm trying to get things together, but she's never had stability. Her husband is the least helpful husband maybe ever. And the editors are dead wrong for this next clip, but it broke my heart. And part of it is why I just adore and love Amy, but the editors, they could have skipped this.
It's just, you two dogged me for years for having bugs in my videos and stuff.
A camera person here, so y'all can see what I'm doing.
In the past on my YouTube channel, a cockroach was in my video, and then the fans and haters seen it, and people were hating on me so much that it just broke me. It's so hard. They made fun of me so much. And I tried so hard not to show them in my videos and stuff, and then y'all see them, and it's just hard.
Have you ever had that moment when you're leaving the house and you wonder, did I lock the door? Or worse yet, you start spiraling and you imagine all the what ifs. I used to feel that way all the time, but it wasn't until a few years ago when I heard about a break-in just a few blocks away that I realized I needed to really step up my home security game. And now I can spiral about the what ifs on things that don't matter, like reality stars, instead of the what ifs of home security. We've had SimpliSafe protecting our house for the last few years now, and it's a total game changer. With SimpliSafe's Fast Protect monitoring, I know within 5 seconds if something's actually up, and the lifeguards can actually speak to intruders to stop them. That's faster than a reality TV star can throw a drink. One of the things I really love the most is you're not locked into some over-the-top 90-day Fiancé level contract drama. SimpliSafe is actually affordable as well, less than $1 a day with no hidden fees, so it's easy to love. It's no wonder they've been named Best Home Security Systems by U.S. News and World Report for 5 years running. Whether you want to install it yourself, it really takes less than an hour, or have a professional handle it, SimpliSafe is as easy as flipping channels between Chimp Crazy and The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. So why wait for the drama to happen? Get SimpliSafe and know your home is covered just like I did. Protect your home with 50% off a new SimpliSafe system, plus a free indoor security camera when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Just visit simplysafe.com/criminality. That's simplysafe.com/criminality. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
This episode is sponsored by AutoTrader. There's a good chance you're driving right now. Look around. Safely. What do you see? Cars. Lots of them. And guess what? They're probably on AutoTrader. Whether you're into timeless classics or the latest trends. Did somebody say solar-powered, eco-friendly, vegan, leather-wrapped, aromatherapy-scented, disco ball-equipped, self-driving car? If you see it on the road, you can likely find it on AutoTrader. Big cars, small cars, blue cars, new cars, used cars, electric cars, and one day, maybe even flying cars. With millions to choose from, buying a car becomes a whole lot easier. See it, find it, AutoTrader. Find your next car on autotrader.com.
Trying to balance my life as a mom, trying to be better as a mom than I was, you know. I'm trying to give him the best out of life.
You think you're doing it?
I hope I am. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I can watch this show.
Oh no, I'm still not recommending you watch it. I don't think you should watch it.
There's no way. That's super, super sad. And there's a lot at play.
Totally. There's a lot at play, but like you just feel for her. I don't know. There's just something about
and
her.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, great to see her face looking healthier, and you know it was quite a transformation. And you root for her.
Yeah,
but I think there's more than just like weight holding her back from accomplishing certain things, normal like household things. That's like depression and just years of like
not knowing how to do it and growing up in
not having the
chaotic
skills,
household
coping.
and stuff. Totally.
It's really sad.
There's like a TikTok lady I love that she posts stuff that's like, if your mom didn't teach you this, I'm here to teach you this. And just like these, like little, and I've seen another guide. I've seen a bunch of them, but it's such a nice thing because some people did not grow up with having those things, learning those things. So it's kind of like you repeat what you've seen, and that's kind of what she's done. And now she realizes that's not what she wants, but how do you fix it? And so,
yeah,
I don't know. But the editors are dead wrong for letting a cockroach climb up in the middle of, keeping it. But I'm telling you, when that happened, everyone was like collectively like, oh my God, like how, why would they do that? But anyway.
Yeah, that's not nice. Also, you stop seeing things in your own environment. Like,
totally.
I bet she didn't even realize it. And then when the video shows and people call it out, like you become immune to kind of seeing your whole environment objectively.
Yeah. It was it was heartbreaking, and you could just tell she was, Anyway, I just love her. So while Amy's doing well with weight loss and working to be a good mom, Tammy is not doing so well. And she ends up getting carbon monoxide poisoning.
Wow.
Which I don't know exactly how that happens exactly, but that's what I read that she had. And she ends up having to get a tracheotomy. And so that's obviously going to complicate her already delicate health issues. And I sort of thought that was going to be the end for her because she just wasn't really getting any better. She wasn't able to lose weight. She didn't seem to have the drive that Amy had. And her family really said the same thing, but thankfully she's able to turn her life around, and more on that in just a few. So back to Amy. Really quickly after she has Gage, she's pregnant again with her second son, Glenn. He's named after a character from The Walking Dead. Amy talks a lot about how scared she is of having a second baby and how she doesn't know if she can be a good mom to both, which is like the most relatable, right?
Yeah.
Totally get that. So in this most recent season, Amy has this second baby, and we see her struggling balancing new babies. At one point, she's at this family get together and crying to her sister and saying, I don't know who to help. Like I both my babies are crying, and like, how do you hold one knowing the other is still crying? I don't know. It's just like such a real moment because you do feel totally overwhelmed.
Torn.
And you had 3. Crazy person.
Yeah, but 1 to 2 was harder than 2 to 3. Honestly.
I've heard that, but still. 3.
The shift was more monumental.
Yeah. So her husband, Michael, they're like showing shots at this point. Michael's not helping. He's like eating, not even acknowledging that she's like clearly just overwhelmed. Family members are helping Amy, and she's crying about this. And it was just hard to watch because you can feel that. So back to Tammy. This is the most recent season I'm talking about. She's living in a rehab center because of the tracheotomy, and she's finally able to lose enough weight to have bariatric surgery. Like,
wow, good for her.
Yeah, her attitude seems better, and that was like a big thing that always seemed like it was holding her back. She just was so angry, and rightfully so or not, but it just wasn't helping her. Yeah. And as of today, she's lost over 300 pounds, which is incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment.
That's wild. She also found a whole husband in the facility, and she's now a married woman.
Wow. Congrats, Tammy.
Yeah. She seems happy and kind of nice now, which is crazy. And if you watch the show, that's not a word people would use to describe her. But Rebekah, let's end on some scandals, shall we? That's what brought us all here. So I want to mention here, when I made the choice for this episode, some of this information was not out here. I know. I knew Michael and Amy were getting a divorce, but that's about it. And so before we get into the current state of affairs, let me tell you about a couple of arrests. our girl Amy was actually arrested back in 2010 in Morganfield, Kentucky. Do you want to guess what she was arrested for? It's not like abuse or anything like that, so I feel good saying
shoplifting.
Oh, good job. Do you have any idea what she shoplifted?
Something she could put in her pockets. Makeup?
She actually found a book at Walmart. It was $8, and she put it in her bag, and she stole that. And
but why? What book?
They didn't say the book. So her grandfather.
Why do I want to know that?
I want to know what book. That's like the only thing I wanted to know. I'm like, what book is worth stealing?
That is the $1 million question. Maybe it was an embarrassing book.
Oh, could it have been?
Like the Joy of Sex.
Oh, yeah. Although I feel like she would have just bought that one. But
I mean, there's no shame in buying it.
I was thinking, what are the 3 parts in Gray, 50 Shades of Grey? I was thinking
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So she ends up, she says during this time, it was like a very low point in her life, though. Her grandfather just died. She lost her job, and I don't think she was thinking. So she tells the cashier, whatever, is like, hey, I know you stole something. She's like, no, I didn't. They said, let's see your bag. She sees the book. Then she says, I paid for it. Then they go through security footage. I'm like, why are you sticking with this?
That is, people do that in those situations. Certain people, they take it right to the edge.
I can't. I'm going to bail way, way quicker. So she is placed under arrest. She is brought to like the local drunk tank, and she just sits for 2 hours. The most shocking thing is her mom is the one that picks her up, which her mom wouldn't even come to Tammy's surgery this year. She said, somebody has to watch my dogs. I can't do it. I hope she doesn't die.
Like, weddings,
seriously. No.
Jail pickups, yes.
Yeah, I know. I was like, Mom just likes the drama. So she ends up getting a $400 fine and a 2-year ban from Walmart. Don't I wish? So Amy's now ex-husband, or soon-to-be ex-husband, Michael, also has an arrest of his own. So back in 2015, he's charged with assault in the 4th degree, domestic violence, minor injury.
Oh.
No information about the charges that I could find, but based on the math, it sounds like he and Amy were a couple at that time. So I know domestic violence can sometimes be other family members, so I just don't know. It doesn't say who was part of it. But more recently, like literally this week while I was researching, something new came up. And so since February or March of this year, it's been speculated that Michael and Amy have separated. And by that, I mean on TikTok, people have said it. And I'm like, sure, I believe it. But just a few days ago, we found out Michael had actually filed for divorce on March 13th. But it sounds like this was actually done in response to Amy filing a restraining order after a violent argument on February 28th. So 4 days earlier, February 24th, Amy calls 911 and tells the dispatcher Michael's yelling and throwing things. And apparently the couple had separated. Michael wants to get her back. Amy's living with Tammy at this time, and the boys are there at the house when this happens.
Oh, no.
I know. So she was able to file a restraining order, which led to him filing for divorce. Neither was intoxicated, according to police, and Amy was granted a restraining order. They did amend it where Michael could see the kids for visitation as long as his mom and sister were there. Because basically everyone knows somebody's got to watch these kids. He's not going to do it.
Ugh, don't love Michael.
No. And the thing is, in earlier seasons, he was always like helping take care of Amy. So you just thought he was kind of like, just would do stuff, I guess. I mean, there's some people that are just like, they're not even complaining. They're just, we call my mom a workhorse. I don't know if that's offensive, but she calls herself that. Like, she's just like, when she's here, she's like, I'm going to help. How can I help?
That's how she's wired. Like, they're happier doing that almost.
Totally. And so that's what he seems like. But then having a baby, he's like very hands-off.
Too much.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So there's really no more information now, but I'm glad she's out of that because doesn't sound good. That's really scary. And in the words of Amy and Tammy's brother, Chris, who we meet on the show, God willing and the creek don't rise, we will have good updates from the family after this episode and not negative ones that sometimes happens to us. And that is my episode for this week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow is appropriate.
You make a good case. I definitely could see the humanity in the show. It might literally be too much humanity for me. Like sometimes I get those shows are hard for me because everything is hard for them. And I do like that they have a sense of humor. Like everything you showed me, like they maintain a sense of humor.
Totally.
And I think that is admirable and also makes it more watchable. Like that's probably what keeps people watching. But it sounds just like they've had a really tough go of it.
I totally agree. It's just nice to see Tammy. I don't know. When you see people who love their kids, but like in this way that they never felt love, like it just pours out of her. She just would do anything. It really is. And so you just like, I'm just pulling for her. So
absolutely. And the truth is that can go one of two ways. I mean, people who didn't receive that they might want it, but they don't intuitively know how to give it.
Totally.
And that's not their fault. But to see her be able to and like dig deep and do better for her kids is just must be so rewarding.
Yeah.
So I hope, the divorce will be like another good step in her.
I hope so.
Her story.
Yeah. So anyway, that's it. That's it for this week.
Wow.
I was excited to get to share 1,000 Pound Sisters with you. And then turns out there was some crime.
That is always what we love to hear when we have a story we want to tell or a person we want to talk about.
Exactly. They've got to be involved in something. And I was right.
Yep. They usually are.
Rebekah, I would personally love to hear what it is you've been watching this week.
Okay. Well, in addition to Love is Blind, which I am so glad you're covering on Moms and Mysteries with Mandy on your Patreon. And I just feel like I have to mention it because I feel like people are asking us about it and talking to us about
Definitely
it on Instagram. So
totally
watching it. It's not my show today, but I'm up to date on it. It's just such a good season.
It's so messy, Rebekah. It's so messy.
Gosh.
There's so many villains. And
Villains.
I know.
And like maybe more women than men being villains this season.
I know.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
But I wonder, I came to a new place towards the end. Well, this would be spoilers. Let me say it without a spoiler. Well,
Just say the spoiler.
It's like been a week since by the time this comes out. I think Mike is not a villain so much as dumb. I don't think she's calculated. And I think her eyes are being opened to who Irina is. And I think Irina is calculating and a monster. I don't like Micah yet, but I'm not sure she was as trash bucket low as I thought she was.
Yeah. But no, I agree. Yeah. No,
I think she was a little slow on the uptake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
But if people haven't watched yet, don't wait. So good this season.
So good.
But I found a new show that I had not heard a thing about. It was just like on my Netflix tile. So it's a Netflix.
Okay.
And your other two clues would be Australia and food.
I'm not going to be able to do this one. I'm not sure.
Okay, so I hadn't seen anything about this, and I just started watching it, I think, yesterday or the day before. So I'm kind of psyched that you haven't seen it. It's called, it's so recent. Do I know the name? Yeah, it's called Wellmania. Wellness Mania? Wait.
I love that lady. She used to be,
I
don't know if it was YouTube or Instagram. She was famous on there, like became famous. Celeste something?
Yep, it's Celeste Barber.
Yes. I used to follow her on Instagram. She was so funny, so relatable, and then saw her kind of blow up.
Funny. Yeah, it's Wellmania.
Got it.
And so the premise of the show is she's this Australian living in New York. She's a food writer, fairly famous and accomplished, but being a food writer, she has to like eat all this super decadent food all the time. So she's not super healthy. She's not 1,000-pound sister.
Sure.
And it's not even about her weight so much as like her actual health. She's just like in the restaurant, like nightlife. So she's drinking and eating all this like rich food, like duck stuff.
Yeah.
Like things I'd never heard of. And she goes home to Australia just for a friend's 40th birthday weekend. But she has to rush back because in New York, she's been asked to be a judge on a new cooking competition show. And it's going to be like hugely raising her profile. But her agent is like, you have to write something amazing to make sure you land this. Like they want you, but you've got to really make sure they know you're the like high enough level to be a judge on the show. And we need you back by Monday. So she goes home for the weekend. but she loses her green card and they don't approve her new green card because she doesn't pass the like physical to leave the country. They're like, you're going to be a burden on the American medical system. You have to stay in Australia. So she goes on this like,
is that real?
Intense. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I guess you do have to pass a physical probably to get approved for a green card because you're going to live somewhere else.
Yeah, okay.
So it's not just like a passport. It's a green card to work.
Got it.
So she was like, but I had a green card. It just was stolen. They're like, well, you actually don't have one right now and you don't pass. Her blood pressure was high. Her cholesterol was terrible. She was just in poor health. And so she has to stay in Australia. And of course she has to like live at her mom's. She's got like a relationship, you know, family dynamic problems. And now she's just on this mission to get well fast. So she joins like this fancy spa and she's going to do all these like quick fix things while trying to get back to New York. And I'm on episode 3 and it's so funny. It's kind of giving Fleabag like tone and style. It's like irreverent, a little lighter than that, I would say. But she's just this very relatable, likable main character who does not have their stuff together. And it's written really well and everyone in it is super funny and it's in beautiful Australia.
Oh, nice.
And you don't know what's going to happen, but she's desperately trying to leave Australia. But she can't, and she can't tell her boss. And they're like, why aren't you back? I won't say anymore, but very, very fun.
Oh,
very,
good.
Like different from everything I've been watching. So I'm enjoying it.
Nice. I wanted to see that. I saw like a little, it was on my Netflix thing as well. And I was like, oh, I recognize her, but the preview didn't really make sense. It was like, I don't even know. It didn't, nothing what you're saying is what I saw on there. It was like her falling over at the airport or something. I don't know.
Yeah, she like collapses. I know it isn't a great scene. I know exactly what you're talking about, but I will say it's different than that and better. It's better. We'll start making the clips on Netflix.
Oh, good. Yeah, I know, right? I love that. I really want to check that out because I do. This was probably like 7 or 8 years ago. I remember following her, and then she was on Chelsea Lately or whatever her show ended up being. Yeah. And so it was just one of these people you're like, oh my gosh, she's going to really make it. Like, she's just great.
If you already liked her and knew of her, like this show is like a great vehicle for her. Like she's going to become more well-known now for sure.
Oh, good.
So I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah. So tell me what you've been watching. Uh-oh.
Okay.
See a tone shift.
This is me. I'm about to bully you. And I didn't want to bully you, but I'm going to bully you. Only on this one season.
Okay.
TLC. Visa. Both of us have visas and green cards. Marriage.
Okay. It's either Love at First Sight or the other one, 90 Day Fiancé.
90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way. The other season is the one to watch.
Okay.
It's my friend Amanda, who I think her Twitter is actually my friend Amanda, but she said it best. She said it's like none of these people have ever watched another season of 90 Day Fiancé. Like they don't know. The
people on the show?
Yeah. Like they're just, they don't know like this is not the smartest thing to do. So you have a couple where the wife is from New York. She was a teacher, I believe, moves down to the Dominican Republic to be with her husband. She speaks Spanish. So you think automatically, finally, one of these Americans have learned the language of, you know, wherever.
Yeah, helpful.
Hot mess. Total mess. Everything's going wrong. One of my favorite couples is there is a couple, Jamie and I keep calling her Alabama, but I can't remember her name. But they're getting married in Jamie's country, which I can't remember what it is. Sorry, that it doesn't matter though for this. Just trust me. And this lady's like coming to Alabama to meet her new wife. They've never met before. She's like in pain from these wrecks that she's been in, car wrecks. She can barely get out of bed. So imagine somebody traveling to meet you, to be in love. And immediately they're incapacitated. They need pain pills. There's all this stuff. And you're like, oh, this probably isn't good. And just she needs shot. Like you're like, something else is going on here. But it's fascinating because you want to see what happens. This is a train wreck season. And my favorite couple, there's other ones too, but my favorite couple is the one I posted about.
Yeah, I was like, this has to be the burkini.
The blonde in the burkini.
Yeah.
Again, forgot her name. But she married her husband, Mahmoud. He is from Egypt. She's already lived there. They separated. Right. She left, came back, and is surprised when he's like, oh, honey, I want you to cover your shoulders. And she's like, I love wearing clothes and not showing my shoulders. And he's like, honey, I told you this before. And she's like, why can't women show their shoulders or whatever? But it's like, you knew this. You knew this.
Right. This is not new information.
It's a whole, you can't feel bad for her. No. Because she knew, you literally left last time because of this. They hate each other, but they will always tell each other, I love you, honey. I love you. It's wild because you're just like, you're dumb. So anyway, it's just, I don't know. It's so good. Okay. So if you've never watched it, it's all new couples. There's an older lady who's marrying this guy named Osama. And she gets there and Osama's like, yeah, you can leave in 2 months. And she's like, I left my whole life to be here. That kind of stuff. Osama writes her poetry. It's terrible. He just cares about his cats. Yeah. It's so good. So if you got off the 90-Day Fiancé train because it seemed very formulated and calculated, this is a season to come back to. Rebekah, you've never watched it. I say give it 1 episode and see if it draws you in because it is mess. It's about culture. It's about humanity. It's about what words can I get you
my
in
language?
On? Yeah.
You've really learned my soft spots. Although, it's got to ride that line because I can see the humanity in 1,000-Pound Sisters, and it's too much for this little soft heart.
Too much. This isn't too much.
This is going to be good. And my daughter came home from school last weekend, one night before she left for spring break with her roommate, and we watched the next 4 episodes of Love is Blind. And they're like, you might really like 90-Day Fiancé because they watch that too. So I feel like this is the universe telling me it's time.
Remember when this happened with Sister Wives and your life was changed for the better?
Yes, okay. I do.
So just this season, this is the only season I would suggest. 90 Day
I don't know that
way.
I can go back and commit, but
it's too much.
I think you've been put in my life for a reason, Melissa, and it's to open my eyes to things like to TLC,
be
basically.
So embarrassed, but really, TLC hired me. Come on, I'm like your biggest spokesperson. Yes,
you are at this point. Give this girl an affiliate link or something. Yeah.
So that's
great. I will definitely watch. That's fun.
Everyone on Instagram, Facebook, everything, feel free to bully. Can we lightly bully you into watching it? Is it okay if I call on to people to bully you? Gentle bullying
word. Gentle bullying, but we got to come up with a term for that.
Strongly encourage with threats of violence? No. No, but if you watch it and you love it, tell Rebekah. I think we can get her into this one. But Rebekah, most importantly, I want clues for the next episode.
Okay. I decided, I guess, maybe 48 seconds before we hit record. So no going back now. I know you know this feeling. No, 3 clues. Here we go. Los Angeles, hot sauce. And this is the make or break clue. Power Ranger.
Not a clue in the world.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Ranger. Okay. Someone's going to get it. You're going to get it in 10 minutes.
All right. I got to
I'm going to get a text from you later today.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
Okay.
But I'm excited about it. So we've got Los Angeles. I'm saying them again for myself. Hot sauce and Power Ranger. And may the force be with me.
That's not a Power Rangers. Okay. Okay. I will figure it out. I probably won't, but I'm going to think about it. I'm excited and I can't wait to check out Wellmania. You've pushed me into that one. I'm excited.
Do you think you're going to like it? And I will report back on the current season of 90 Day. And in the meantime, everybody, thank you so much for listening. And you can find Melissa every Tuesday on Moms and Mysteries, her other podcast.
And you can find Rebekah at RebekahSebastian.com and see what all she's up to.
Yeah.
Living La Vida Loca.
Always.
I don't know. Thank you so much. We've had new reviews. Thank you for those. Make sure you tell other people about our show. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram only. Is that too aggressive? But that's really where we are.
We're going to gently bully you out of Facebook. Please.
I know.
Please
do this for us. And we will be back in 2 weeks with a Rebekah-led episode. I can't wait.
Same. Bye.
Bye.